first scenario then on the defending half. Again, you're not always going to have the ball on the attacking half of the field, and we have to think about how we attack in the build-up play as well. So kind of taking the reverse of what we did in the defensive situations, right, this defensive scenario. So now our goalkeeper has the ball on a goal kick or in their hands. We've got players drop down below the build-out line, and the opposing team has dropped back higher than the or below the build-out line as the rules dictate. All right, so we're going to want to keep the ball. If our goalkeeper throws the ball out or somehow puts it on the ground and you know, in a legal way and plays it long, we don't want to create 50-50 situations, right? Goalkeepers can't punt at this age, so that's not an issue. But you see the pass, or the part one pass, nice and close. And this player then has the ability to dribble forward, right? So the central defender can dribble forward. The defender is most likely going to step out here. And so the part two part where they're dribbling out, not as a speed dribble, but just to try and entice the defender to step out. And now, depending on how fast these defenders move, right? If this central defender or central midfielder moves over here pretty quick, well, maybe that pass isn't going to be on. But this pass will be available. The pass out wide to the right midfielder, who then can maybe dribble on their own, who then might be able to make a pass into a forward here, right? Lots of different options can happen. If this player cheats a little bit, right? Clean these passes up here a little bit. As we do that, so if this defender starts to cheat a little bit this way as that's happening, well, now maybe that middle pass will be open a lot more to be able to get a ball here and then maybe pass the ball out there again, or go on their own dribble to turn up this way, right? But in a way, as we said before, that allows us to keep possession, right? And all of this happening at the same time, maybe there's no forward pass available as all of that's happening, and the defender, the second defender, can just stop, play the ball back to the goalkeeper. All right, they could get here, they could get up to where that pass is going to be, play the ball back to the goalkeeper, who is also a player, and then switch it out the other side. So all players are involved at any moment, including the goalkeeper in the attack. They all have to be competent and comfortable enough on the ball. They all have to understand that they're allowed to pass the ball to whoever's open, and if we're passing the ball to whoever's opened as fast as we can in a way that is the least dangerous and allows us to keep the ball, especially on this build-up half, right, on the defending half, then we're doing a good job. That's what we need to be advocating. Again, if the idea is we make a pass to move defenders, and as defenders move, they're going to most likely spread out, then that's when gaps will open up and space will open up to move forward. That's the idea there. Again, it's an indirect style. It's a style that requires them to think, and maybe something you might be a little bit uncomfortable with, because the idea being we could just kick the ball away from the goal, and we're unlikely to turn the ball over close to our goal, and then we're less likely to give up goals. I mean, listen, sure, that's the case, except you're not going to be developing soccer players. You're going to be worried about winning games at 9 and 10 years old, if that's the only thing you're doing. If you take your big, strong central defender, give him the ball, and tell him to kick it far every single time, well then, he's going to get better at kicking it far, the forward's going to get better at running onto it, and everybody else is going to be bored and not want to play anymore because they're not getting the ball. And this, again, the more passes we make, the more players are on the ball, the more touches they get, the more they have to improve their touch, the more they have to improve their passes, the more they have to improve their decision making, and players are getting better. You might give up goals trying to pass the ball like this on your half. You have to be okay with that. Professionals give up goals like this, college teams, high school teams, it happens. But it's the right pass, and it's the way to develop players, right? That's the idea. We have a formation, and we have a system, and we have a style that we want all players to be a part in, so that all players are developing, because all players are going to be having fun when they're getting better. If they have any enjoyment of the game at all, they want to get better and they want to be involved. And they want to be involved on both sides so that when the team wins the game, they feel like they're a part of it. And ideally that they're getting the kind of attention that they need, and it's not just Susie and Mary or Billy and Johnny who are the two biggest, fastest, strongest kids at 9 and 10 years old, because they might not be the two biggest, fastest, strongest kids at 12, 13, or 14, and now we've lost them because it's not fun anymore, because they're not as good as maybe they once thought they were. All right, so that's the 7v7 idea. Next few slides we'll go into 9v9 formation, and what we'll try to show is how a system then and a style pretty much remains the same. It's just on a bigger field with more players. That becomes a little bit more complex just because there's more players and more options. No slight delay actually on the 9v9. There's one more slide before we go into 9v9, and that's just a second scenario of building out of the back. If you can see, the biggest difference here is that the wide players, the wide midfielders, are pushed higher up the field in order to just kind of advance the attack just that little bit faster. The idea being now, most teams I think that you play against are going to have these three defenders right high up on that build out line, whose idea is we're going to go run and press right away. So the more these players, the more the defenders all step out, again, the more likely it is that they're going to get gaps between the lines, right? So that vertical compactness or up and down compactness that we talk about is probably going to get more stretched out, which is obviously not good. But most teams are going to figure that if I can just get pressure out there, then I'll win the ball up higher, and that's okay. So again, the center back who gets the ball here is going to need to be able to play a longer pass. All right, the idea being that this defender steps out here, and now you have all of this space out there if we can play that pass on the move. And then once that wide midfielder gets the ball, then all right, now there's a lot. What else can we do here, right? What else can we get at? And now this is what we were saying before about an indirect style. This doesn't mean that we don't go forward as fast as we can. Right? If this player gets this ball here in this space, and you have the attacking player running in, and we can make one pass and be 1v1 of the goalkeeper, or 1v1 with the central defender running at the goalkeeper with this opposite side, again, wide midfielder coming central, right? Understand that. If this forward gets the ball here, then this player making a run straight up the field being wide isn't very helpful to his teammate. This player gets the ball here, he's going to want to deliver the ball into the center of the field for this player to run onto and go. So just a slightly different way to set yourselves up, but the idea is the same. Playing quick, playing into feet, playing into runs, and defender or attackers understanding that movement that comes in there, right? So the other thing to see this, right? It's not just that we're playing long and then playing forward. It might be that this central midfielder has to support the play because this central defender is going to run over in a way that it doesn't allow them to go forward. And now we need this central midfielder to occupy this central space in through there. And then, okay, we'll just play the pass back into that space, and we'll continue to build up. We'll continue to play fast. We'll continue to play to feet. We'll continue to play to runs in a way that allows us to keep the ball until we can penetrate. And then once you can penetrate, then you take some risks, right? So that's the idea behind the style going forward. Again, an indirect way that allows you to keep the ball as much as possible in the build-up, playing to feet, playing into space, into runs, until you can penetrate. And then once you can penetrate, that's the time to be creative, take some risks, and not worry if you lose the ball. If you're losing the ball in the attacking half, in the attacking third, while trying to create goal-scoring chances, that's a good thing. It's going to happen more often than not. It happens more often than not to all the best players in the world, so it's certainly going to happen to our 9 and 10-year-olds. All right, so that's the idea behind the style within the system of 7v7, and now we'll move forward into our 9v9 look.